If I were to tell you that you had one day left to live, what would you do with that day? Now, I want you to think about it for a second. I want you to formulate your ideas about what this final day would be. Now, I'm not totally sure exactly what you're thinking, but I'm sure it's something very adventurous and risky. Maybe you would go skydiving or make friends with somebody who you had never had the courage to talk to. Whatever it would be something that you wouldn't have the courage to do otherwise. Now, what if I told you that you had an entire lifetime to live? Now your plans become less ambitious, less risky. They become the plans that you have settled for. You figure that whatever you had planned for that grand last day can wait because you have so much time, and maybe you will, maybe you won't get around to doing it. Putting something off until the right time or until this happens is a recipe for regret. There was a nurse in Australia named Bronnie Ware who cared for patients who were in their last months of life. And during her time there, she decided to start asking the patients what their biggest regret was. The number one regret was this: I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Nowhere on here is there a regret about not fitting in or wishing they had done more to make money. In fact, the opposite is found. The second biggest regret was, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. The third, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. The fourth, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And the fifth, I wish that I had let myself be happier. We are in a time in our lives when we are making decisions that will affect us for years to come. We are finding and creating ourselves, and we can learn from the people who lived before us. You will have regrets if you hold back or if you give in, if you let the uncertainty and fear of not pleasing others cause you to get in the way of yourself or to go down a road that you wish you hadn't. The most important thing for you all to know is that you have the power to make what you want with your lives. You can be who you want to be. And if you don't believe me, I have a question for you. What is the difference between a writer and somebody who isn't a writer? A writer writes. It's as simple as that. And that can apply to anything else that you want to be. If you want to be a dancer or a singer or an accountant, all you have to do is dance or sing or account. Now, that doesn't mean that you can just be Superman if you want to be Superman. The difference between me and Superman is that one of us is incredibly smart and handsome and the other one flies around in a cape. So, sure, you can't have superhuman powers, but the human powers that you have are more than enough to live a life of contentment. Throughout my life, I have found myself holding back because I was worried about how I would be perceived. First coming into Ocsa in 8th grade, I frequently sat alone. I was afraid about approaching people because I thought that my Doctor Who socks and shirt and hat and pants and jacket might be a little bit too intimidating for them. I stayed on the sidelines, and as the year went on, the little 8th grade me started to get lonely. So I came up with a foolproof idea to make sure that I could talk to people. I started a Doctor Who club with a fellow Whovian. And in that club, I met people who I could call friends and who I knew wouldn't make fun of my obsession. And since then, I have found out that everyone at Ocsa is wacky, and everyone already assumes you to be weird. That gave me the confidence to be the person that I want to be and to open up without worrying about the expectations of others. And just recently, a more recent example of this, of me opening up, is when a student here asked me to be in their band. And even though I have absolutely no musical experience, I decided that I would go for it, and we danced around on 10th Street, and I wore a blue wig, and I had the time of my life. Now, dancing around in blue wigs and starting weird clubs might be an awkward metaphor to grasp, But it goes to show that you can be what you want to be if you can get over your fear. You can take charge of your life. So go out there and dance in a blue wig, and don't wait for a club to show you that you can be who you want. If you try to be accepted, all you will do is blend in with the rest of them. Get rid of your fear, live courageously, be good to yourself and others, and maybe in a lifetime from now, you wouldn't have changed a thing. Thank you.